Hey guys, Breeze here, and this is Pantheon 5 with only charms. Kind of a long time overdue. I'm gonna be honest, I just straight up quit like mid-February, and the runs were taking long, my patience was running thin, and my mental health tanked. So I just kind of had to stop. And, secondly, it's kind of around the time of recording this and when I beat the challenge, kind of the 1 year anniversary of the challenge as a whole, which was purely coincidental. I didn't even mean to. What got me back into it? Silk Song. But without further ado, this is Pantheon 5 with only charms. Strap in because it is pretty long, so make sure to grab a snack or something. Now I'm gonna be completely honest, during I guess the early parts of the Pantheon, I didn't really do too great. But I mean, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Am I right? Yeah. Also not going to really worry too much about explaining the charms. I switched through them out a little bit. Experimented with some stuff instead of just running the same thing for everybody. But I'll get deeper into that later. If you're wondering why I just stood still doing nothing for a second, it's because I was eating a snack. Listen, like I said, I did like 2 other attempts before this run, and I was hungry, okay? A man's gotta eat, okay? Like I said, these runs, if you couldn't see the length of the video already, these runs kind of take a long time. Okay, not gonna lie. Questionable decision to heal when I start the fight instead of healing before I got into it. I'm not gonna cap. I don't know why I did that. But that clearly did not work out in my favor here. Like I said, I must have been tired. I must have been tired during this run at this beginning portions. Like I said, some of these first battles were a little more rough than I would have liked it to be. And that was basically the first portion. Done. Like I said, a little more rough than I would have liked it to be, but like I said before, only matters how you finish. This is surprisingly one of the bosses that I've actually had some trouble on, or because I think he took me out quite a couple of times. It's mostly the platforms. I'm just like, one of my biggest weaknesses is parkouring and fighting at the same time, and you know, only being able to attack with dashing by dashing doesn't really help me that much in that regard. Also, something I learned in this fight is that Dream Shield can block his lasers. I don't know if I said that before in a previous Pantheon video or not, but it's just kind of weird what Dream Shield is able to block and what it's not able to block. I don't think that would be, I mean, it blocking the lasers I don't think is very useful in any case, but just a weird thing to think about of the many random things that Dream Shield can accomplish. still find it hilarious that Dream Shield can block their projectiles. Again, one of the many random things. Oh yeah, I believe I messed up on this fight a ton. I'd made classic mistakes. Things that I told myself not to do, especially when I did this fight on Radiant. Which, if you didn't see this fight on Radiant with Only Charms, go check it out. Another portion complete. Not too bad. Finishing up my snack. Oh, but yeah, this boss definitely took me out a couple of times back during my earlier attempts way back in January. Because, yeah, he just really sucks to fight when you can't just nail him away from you. Yeah, this fight is absolutely torturous to do with Only Charms. I think I either die to him or just get to really low health and basically no in between. And I will say I messed up on this fight too. But not as bad. But I mean, it's Fluke Marm. When you're doing anything with Fluke Marm, it's kind of hard to do anything. Okay. So for this next part, or I guess this next portion, yeah, got rid of Grim and replaced it with Dash Master. Because in this next portion, Troop Master Grim is in it, so obviously Grim, the Grim Charm, doesn't get activated during the Grim fight. But the reason I replaced it with Dash Master is because of the Collector, and I'll get more into the Collector when we actually get to the fight. Okay. So I would say out of probably most bosses that surprised me on how difficult they were, the collector is one of them. Because he's basically one of the bosses that I struggled the most on. Obviously the switch to Dash Master was to get that boost in damage to Sharp Shadow so that I would be able to insta-kill the minions. Because before, if I didn't have that on, I wouldn't be able to insta-kill the minions, and the minions would make my time a lot harder than it had to be. So, yeah, I think switching, and like even then, like, I still can't really kill them fast enough in order for them not to be a problem. But yeah, I would say this boss surprisingly, honestly, might be top 3 bosses I died to during this challenge in general. If I'm gonna be honest, I actually had to like really practice him in order to, I guess in order to get past him regularly, and which even then, as you can see, is still kind of a challenge. Yeah, because the minions. Especially that stupid Aspen. Those stupid Aspens. And one thing that killed me one time is I actually beat him, but his minions stay after you beat him, and I died to a minion, even though I beat him. So, yeah, I actually rage quit after that run. I vividly remember that. But then coming from that fight to this one is still also a little hard. It's mostly when he spits. But I was lucky enough to get a lot of rolls out of him. But there would be a few times where he would just spit constantly, and it wouldn't exactly be favorable. And also just some inconvenient positioning when the warrior stands directly behind him, and I just end up dashing into him. I would prefer not to run into him or not attack him when he does his little introduction, but he gets triggered when the spiders hit him anyways, so you know, I can't really have any control over that. The spiders are just a bunch of little savages. Yeah, with that portion being done, I switched back from Dash Master to Grim. Nope, I lied. It's because I forgot to. Now, didn't necessarily make the bosses in this portion really easier or harder, but I guess I did actually mean to switch back to Grim. But I think the build works with Dash Master or with Grim, because like I said, you still use Sharp Shadow a decent bit, or still use Sharp Shadow a lot. So, you know, either way, it's kind of like you could have one or the other and it still performs just as good. Now, Umu took me out not really too much, not as much as I kind of expected, considering the unique situation of the fight. I mean, you would think that doing this boss or completing this boss on Radiant with Holy Charms would be more than enough experience to kind of get it done, but those spiders are a blessing and also screw me over at the same time. So can't really say it's kind of like a plus and a minus. I will say though, Grub Song kind of comes in clutch, not for the spiders, but because of getting the soul off of hit. The amount of times I fall in that stupid fog, but I'm able to compensate because I get soul from taking damage. Definitely an MVP. I would say it was quite annoying, the amount of traps that she placed that I couldn't really destroy. Because apparently Dream Shield just decided not to destroy any of them at the end. But still got it anyways. Now, I actually did die to No Eyes a couple of times, surprisingly. Only probably like, okay, not a couple of times, probably only like once. Maybe like once or twice. I don't think she's necessarily a hard boss. I just think the arena can... I think my only problem is that the arena can be really constrictive. So it's just one of those bosses where I have to rely on my minions a lot because there's obviously not a lot of spaces where I can use Sharp Shadow on her. Like, yeah, when she's in that corner, that one, I can use it, but there's some risk involved. Yeah, mostly when she's like in the middle platform is when I can really only use my dash on her. Other than that, most of the damage is from the minions. So not necessarily one of the harder ones, but one of the more annoying ones to deal with because it's basically just one big waiting game. And obviously trying not to get smacked. can't say that that wasn't close. Now, these next set of enemies, even though I know that Nightmare King Grim was in these next set of bosses, I still decided to keep Grim anyways. Specifically because Grim is an easy enough boss for me to fight because I fought him that many times. But also because these lineup of bosses are just a lot more easier to, or a lot more faster to take down with Grim, because you can't really hit them as much with Sharp Shadow, which is why I was just like, screw it. Like, even though I know I can't use them during the Grim fight, like I said, I've done that fight so many times that, you know, it's really not that hard for me to complete. And specifically, another reason why I decided to keep Grim is because Markov and Zote, Grey Prince Zote, are back-to-back, literally back-to-back bosses in this Pantheon, which I think is criminal. The fact that you have to fight those two specifically together, well, not together, but, you know, like one after the other, I think is criminal, and that's whoever approved that decision should be sent to jail. Yeah, for the Markov fight, I'm like, Grim makes the Markov fight a lot easier because that's a fight that I typically avoid using Sharp Shadow. One that I use a lot of patience for because, again, ties back into the, you know, just bad at fighting and parkour at the same time. Yeah, I wouldn't typically say that this boss is necessarily hard. Like I said before, like, one of my biggest weaknesses is just parkouring and fighting at the same time. And so this arena, just fighting him on this arena is just hurts my soul. This hurts my soul. And, you know, having Sharp Shadow as my only manual form of damage didn't necessarily help. So it was definitely a lot of patience when it came to this fight. And it's also because I wanted to save as much health as I could, as much soul and health as I could, for the for Zote, because as you're gonna see later on, Zote is definitely not an easy person to fight with only charms. Yeah, definitely a fight of patience, because that second phase is crazy. But this, Markoth and Zote combined probably made up a pretty good portion of my deaths doing this challenge, or you know, running Pantheon 5. I'll say the thing that hit me the most for Zote is the minions. Surprisingly, because you know, when I would just try and run away from Zote, the minions would just kind of show up out of nowhere, and my minions weren't killing the minions fast enough. And honestly, this run was kind of a mess, or at least this fight was kind of a mess. I actually did try to Radiant this boss with the only charms, but yeah, let's just say a few hundred attempts later, I just could not do it. Not to say I don't think he's impossible to Radiant with only charms, but I don't think I'm at that skill level yet. Because again, he is a very, very random boss. Yeah, definitely one of the most difficult bosses in the game, just in general. So, because of how random he is. It's crazy because if I didn't take that second to heal, I would have died to that blast because of those 2 hearts, which I find is absolutely crazy. If I didn't take that quick second to heal, I would have died there again. Yeah, absolutely stressing my ass off, because that, yeah, that he just not a very hard fight to do, especially with only charms. So that was like close call central. Like I said, like those 2 times where I healed right before getting hit, like if I didn't take those quick times to heal, I would have died. So that's absolutely insane. And honestly, I think I might have maybe just even a little bit of luck, if I can even call it that. Now, I actually did die. I mean, despite my earlier comment about, you know, me being good enough at this fight, I actually did die to him, I think, like 3 times he took me out. I also died a couple of times because I forgot to turn the Inferno mod off. So yeah, sometimes I forgot to turn the Inferno mod off. So I ended up fighting the modded version instead of this version. And yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm not good at the modded fight, but not good enough to do it in a Pantheon, that's for sure. So sometimes I did an entire run just to fight the modded boss. And I was like, okay, well, kind of just wasted my time with that one. But honestly, probably would have been pretty impressive if I did the entire Pantheon with the modded version, with the Inferno modded version of this boss instead of the regular version. I mean, honestly, that probably would have been impressive. I considered it, but I was like, no. I've already lost too much of my sanity with the amount of times that I ran this dumb Pantheon, and I decided it wasn't worth it in the end. Now, I made a big decision here and decided to just get rid of Sharp Shadow entirely. It was more for Radiance, but it also turned out working a little bit for Pale Pure Vessel as well. Again, getting rid of Sharp Shadow is kind of a little bit of a bold move because, you know, obviously can get a lot of damage from it if you do it consistently. But note, I said consistently. Yeah. My Sharp Shadow usage against Radiance was basically non-existent. And although it would definitely kill Pure Vessel a lot faster, obviously there's no bench in between the Pure Vessel fight and the Radiance fight. So I kind of just had to deal with it. But, like I said, it actually does kind of work in my favor for this battle because of, well, you'll see a clear example later, so I'll wait till it gets to that point. Well, as you can see there, I can just heal. I can take that time to heal without having to worry about the little bubbles that he does or creates, because if one ends up spawning on me while I'm healing, it'll be blocked by the boulder shell, which basically just gives me a free heal in the case that I get hit. So, you know, making the switch to that, so boulder shell still actually turned out helping quite a bit. And I absolutely hate when he does that. When he's literally just off screen and he just decides to dive at me from off screen. I'm like, I can't see what he's doing, and he just flies at me. A little unfair, but it is what it is. But that was just the biggest pet peeve of mine. Death-wise, I've definitely, I wouldn't say I lost too many runs to Pure Vessel, but I will say, just like, I did definitely die a couple of times on this boss. Like, I'm not gonna say I didn't. And now, on to the final boss. And again, I decided to replace Sharp Shadow with Boulder Shell because A, I just wasn't using Sharp Shadow enough to be a considerable point of damage. B, again, trying to Sharp Shadow Radiant while she's doing all of her random BS. It's kind of just dangerous within itself, so I decided to just make it a game of patience. Have all my minions do the work, and why Boulder Shell? Because there are just, you know, there are some instances where, like, it's just kind of, like, you don't really have a lot of options to block. I mean, options to evade the attacks. So in the case that I can, you know, see an impossible attack coming, or like an impossible to dodge sequence coming, I can just use, obviously, Boulder Shell to just not take damage. Was I successful in doing that most of the time? Not really. But I can't say that it didn't help, because it definitely did help. Like when I actually used it right, it came in kind of clutch, actually. Now I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my video. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my video for beating Radiance with only charms. But this was the make or break phase. Like, I can't say I made it to this fight enough in Pantheon 5 to say whether or not I died to this phase a lot. Or just to the boss in general. But I will say, again, like, or replicate what I said in the Radiance video, that this phase is just really difficult to do in general, and basically the strategy was just to try and stay as close as possible without and not try to like force myself onto okay, that didn't really sound right, but again, not really play aggressively but more passively. Again, just let the minions do the work, but obviously I have to be close enough for the minions to do the work. So there was a few times where she would just teleport away and I would just be on the other side of the field and kind of just, you know, wait for her to come to me instead of going to her. But like I said, but I'm pretty sure there's some type of teleport mechanic where if you're just far away from her, she just won't come to you, and which I don't know. Definitely happened a few times where I would just be sitting on one side of the field waiting for her to teleport to me because I didn't. Yeah, see, like right here, I can't see what she's going to do next, so I don't want to, you know, move towards her. Again, Boulder Shell coming in clutch there. I will say I wish I had used Boulder Shell on more attempts, because again, I think it would have just it kind of gives me some free room to heal, first of all, and second of all, you know, it can just protect me in instances that you saw. The stair climb gets easier the more you do it, but it still doesn't get any less stressful. Like, I've done the stair climb so many times, but it still feels just as stressful. And there we go, ladies and gents. That is Pantheon 5 with only charms. Oh, and I just failed because I slashed. I'm just kidding. But, oh my gosh. An entire year. Like I said, I quit, or I stopped trying in February of this year. And I started trying again when I started playing Silksong, because I picked up Hollow Knight again, and you know, really just locked in. And I guess playing Silksong has somewhat made me better at Hollow Knight, because like I said, I just, like, I guess from beating Pantheon 4 all the way until like mid-February, I just could not beat this Pantheon with only charms. But hey, it happened. And yeah, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to do any more only charms things. Maybe with some modded bosses, maybe. But other than that, I'm not really too sure. I'm gonna just kind of improvise a little bit. But, you know, to those who stopped by, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for some of the support. Again, you know, long time, a lot of attempts to the point where I just completely lost count. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, there's obviously people who could probably do this in a lot less tries, or people who've done a lot more amazing things, but, you know, just to like stop by and just see, you know, what I'm doing. Like, I know that I'll probably never be as good as some other pros, some actual pros at the game, but, you know, to have my own little set of accomplishments to do within the game, that, you know, my own personal achievements that may not be as grand as some others, but, you know, to me, something still challenging for me enough to, I guess, be somewhat presentable. I mean, I decided to make this video series anyways, and I can finally put it to rest an entire year later. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and also make sure to check out some of my other vids. You know, there's still an entire playlist of boss fights, radiants for a lot of them, with only charms. And if you like some more Hollow Knight related stuff, I also have my Silk Song Let's Play that you can also check out. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and have a good one.